Count Macula Show. I am Count Macula. In this edition, I'm going to do a quick commentary on the movie The Hobbit, the prequel to the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I would definitely highly suggest anyone going to see this movie while it's still in theaters. By the time you watch this, it's not in theaters. Definitely buy it on Blu-ray. I'm sure there'll be like 50 editions of it. Special edition, super special edition, box sets. So you can collect them all. But this film is definitely more of a fan-oriented film. I think if the first trilogy, if you weren't necessarily a fan of the Lord of the Rings trilogy novels, you still could pretty much jump in and enjoy the movie. For this particular movie, The Hobbit, even though there'll be two more after it, just going by this particular movie, I feel like it's definitely, you would definitely get more enjoyment out of it if you're already a fan of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, because you're going to see whatever you, if you're not a fan, whatever you would enjoy out of a movie, one of those medieval sorcery fantasy movies, you can see that all in the first trilogy. I mean, it's not going to stray away from that. It's going to be a lot of orcs, a lot of sorcery, the run-of-the-mill stuff. But if you're a fan, you'll get the more, the details in it, like going back for Bilbo. You would have to have a love or a want to know Bilbo's background in order to really enjoy this movie. So it's definitely a fan-oriented movie. The one thing I can say that I'm glad why the movie was made is because they didn't have a gap between trilogies the way Star Wars did. The first Star Wars trilogies from the 70s and 80s, ending with Return of the Jedi, there was a, I believe, 16-year gap or something along those lines between Return of the Jedi and the first prequel, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. And because the gap was so wide, it lapped a generation. So not only in generation as age, generation as technology. So there was no CGI, obviously, in any of the first Star Wars trilogy. And you saw the prequels were all pretty much CGI. So the movies don't lock into each other. At least with the Lord of the Rings trilogy and The Hobbit, they're pretty much going to lock in. Even though there's two more movies to go, according to this one, or based on this one's look, it pretty much has the just about identical look to the first trilogy, where you don't see this big difference in just the whole look and the whole vibe of the movie. And I feel like the first Star Wars movie, George Lucas was pretty much a younger, hungrier director, and by the time the prequels came out, he was a billionaire, and maybe the urgency wasn't there to make a very solid movie, where Peter Jackson is still young enough to have the fire in his belly to make an interesting trilogy out of the Hobbit. So you can get that vibe in the Hobbit, that it was, what my point is, you're getting that vibe that it was well taken care of, as far as him not straying too far away from the first trilogy, whereas Star Wars, I felt like it was two separate trilogies, they didn't lock into each other as strongly as The Hobbit is. So go check out The Hobbit if you're a fan of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. If you're not, the benefit to that is you can watch it from the beginning. If you don't go see the trilogy. If you want to watch from The Hobbit, watch the prequels first, and then you can watch the next three. It'll be a 6-part movie. You can watch it from beginning to end, the same as if you're a lot of people I know were Star Wars fans, and they saw Episode 1 first and 2 seconds, and they went through the whole trilogy as if it was one movie and saw it at a different angle. So yes, go and see The Hobbit. It's a fan's movie. If you like Lord of the Rings, you like the first trilogy, you'll definitely enjoy The Hobbit. And this has been a Macula Moment, film review of The Hobbit, and I'll see you in my next episode.